Let's jump right into this explainer. When we look out at the wild, rugged Atlantic coast of Morocco, we're not just looking at a pretty view. We're actually looking at a massive, untapped pharmacy. Today, we're exploring how marine biotechnology, specifically looking at authentic Moroccan Seamoss sourced by specialists like Bwinto, might hold some incredible keys to our metabolic health. And this is a conversation we absolutely need to have right now. Diabetes is currently one of the world's fastest growing metabolic disorders. It's a huge global challenge. So scientists are starting to ask, hey, instead of just looking on land, what if we search our oceans for naturally occurring compounds that can support glucose regulation? It turns out the ocean creates biochemical structures you just literally cannot find. Actually, scratch that. It's more like the ocean's extreme environment forces the creation of entirely unique compounds that simply don't exist in terrestrial plants.
Section 1, Discovering Moroccan Seamoss.
Now, right off the bat, we need to be really specific here. We're talking about a very distinct red seaweed called Gigartina pistillata as a promising area of research. It is absolutely crucial to distinguish this authentic Moroccan sea moss from the generic stuff you see floating all over the internet, like Irish moss. Those are entirely different species with totally different chemistry. This is exactly why getting the correct species is such a big deal. Sourcing from folks like Bwinto, who specialize in authentic, wild-harvested Gigartina pistillata from Morocco, guarantees you're actually looking at the exact species investigated in these published scientific studies.
Section 2, the omega membrane matrix.
So let's zoom in, like way, way down to the cellular level. When you look at the chemistry of this marine plant, you find a highly favorable ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids. It sits perfectly right between 1.65 and 3.21. But what does that actually mean for you? Well, these fatty acids literally become part of your cell membranes. When you compare that nice, balanced 2-to-1 ratio against the crazy inflammatory ratios of 10-to-1 or even 20-to-1 that we see in typical modern Western diets, yeah, it's a total game changer. You can immediately see why nutritionists consider this profile so favorable for supporting overall health.
Section 3, the gut microbiome factory.
But beyond those healthy fats, the real structural marvel of Gigartina pistillata is found in its marine polysaccharides. Specifically, we're talking about carrageenans. Basically, these are massive, heavily sulfated carbohydrate molecules. Because they are so large and have these unique sulfate groups, the human digestive enzymes in your upper tract just kind of bounce right off them. They can't break them down easily. So they end up behaving very similarly to dietary fiber, moving much slower through your digestive system. And scientists think this slower movement plays a massive role in how we absorb nutrients and regulate glucose. If you trace that journey through the body, you can see these indigestible marine fibers pretty much bypass the stomach and small intestine entirely. They just cruise right on through, largely intact, and head straight down into the large intestine, directly into the heart of the gut microbiome. And honestly, this is where the magic happens. I like to think of the gut microbiome as this bustling biochemical factory, or a microscopic ecosystem. Your friendly bacteria actually ferment these marine fibers. As they munch on those carrageenans, they pump out these incredibly useful metabolic byproducts called short-chain fatty acids, or SCFAs. The one that has researchers super excited, propionic acid. This little SCFA doesn't just hang out in the gut. It acts as a vital signaling molecule that travels straight to the liver to help regulate lipid levels and, of course, glucose metabolism.
Section 4, the Wistar rat study.
All right, but as science communicators, we know we have to look at the hard evidence. To test how this actually works in practice, researchers set up a highly controlled laboratory study using an established animal model, Wistar rats. They laid out a meticulous 4-week assessment. Step by step, they took a control group receiving a standard diet and compared them directly against an experimental group receiving that exact same diet, but supplemented with 23% Gigartina pistillata. After those 4 weeks, the data showed something really fascinating. The serum glucose values for the standard diet control group were sitting at 141.0 milligrams per deciliter. But the group getting that 23% Gigartina supplementation, their levels dropped down to 134.4. So within this specific, highly controlled laboratory model, we're seeing a clear observation of improved metabolic markers, which strongly suggests that the gut fermentation process we just talked about is actually doing its job. Section 5, Future of Marine Biotech. When we step back and look at the big picture, marine biotechnology is this beautiful collision of ocean biology, nutrition, and biomedical research. Now, to be absolutely clear, and this is super important, These findings are primarily based on laboratory and animal nutritional research right now. We definitely need additional, large-scale human clinical studies before anyone starts making firm health claims or calling this a cure. But the foundational science, it's absolutely incredibly exciting. It's a perfect example of how marine organisms are going to shape the future of nutritional science. If this explainer sparked your curiosity and you want to dig deeper into the quality, origin, and authenticity of real Moroccan Seamoss, you should definitely check out Bwinto.com. They focus on the exact authentic, wild-harvested Gigartina Pistillata species we've been geeking out over today, so you know you're looking at the right stuff. So, I'll leave you with this one provocative thought to chew on. If a simple, unassuming crimson red seaweed from the Atlantic coast can influence our body's internal biochemical factory this profoundly, what other incredible metabolic secrets are just waiting to be discovered out there in the deep? Thanks for diving in with us today, and keep exploring.